Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Ben, we have a bunch of protests and whatnot going on over the immigration ban. I'm about ready to go to bed. Oh, excuse me. Trump's such a villain. To read, and I found something here that is explaining. It's a National Review. They're a pretty good source. They're doing a review on Trump's ban, on the immigration ban, his executive order. To read the online commentary, one would think that President Trump just fundamentally corrupted the American character. You would think that the executive order on refugees he signed yesterday betrayed America's founding ideals. You might even think he banned the people from an entire faith from the American shores. Just look at the rhetoric here from Chuck Schumer, which he says, tears are streaming down the Statue of Liberty's face. Really? Then Nancy Pelosi, she said, this administration has mistaken cruelty for strength and prejudice for strategy. Wonder if these people even read any of this. CNN, doing its best Huffington Post impersonation, ran a headline declaring Trump bans 134 million from the U.S. Really? The Huffington Post, outdoing itself, just put the Statue of Liberty upside down on its front page. So what did Trump do? Did he implement his promised Muslim ban? No. Far from it. He backed down dramatically from his campaign promises, instead signed an executive order dominated mainly by the moderate refugee restrictions and temporary provisions aimed directly at limiting immigration from jihadist conflict zones. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We don't know who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. It's kind of like Vietnam. Vietnam, we didn't know who was North Vietnam and who was South Vietnam. It was an issue. So, sometimes you just got to stop everything to know what's going on, to figure out what's going on. Let's analyze the key provisions, separate the facts from the hysteria, and introduce a bit of historical perspective. First, the order temporary halts refugees' admissions for 120 days to improve the vetting process. Not a bad idea. Then caps refugee admissions at 50,000 per year. Still too many in my book. Outrageous, right? Not so fast. Before 2016, when Obama dramatically ramped up refugee admissions, Trump's 50,000 stands roughly in between a typical year of refugee admissions in the George W. Bush 2 terms and a typical year in Obama's 2 terms. In 2002, the United States admitted only 27,131 refugees. It admitted fewer than 50,000 in 2003, 2006, and 2007. As for President Obama, he was slightly more generous than President Bush, but his refugee cap from 2013 to 2015 was a mere 70,000. And in 2011 and 2012, he admitted barely more than 50,000 refugees himself. The bottom line is that Trump has improved security screening and intends to admit refugees at close to the average rate of the 15 years before Obama's dramatic expansion in 2016. Obama's expansion was a departure from the recent norms, not Trump's contradiction. Second, the order imposes a temporary 90-day ban on people entering the U.S. from Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. These are countries either torn apart by jihadist violence or under the control of hostile jihadist governments. The ban is in place while the Department of Homeland Security determines the information needed from any country to educate any visas, admissions, or other benefit from the INA in order to determine that the individual seeking the benefit is who the individual claims to be and is not a security or public safety threat. It could, however, be extended or expanded depending on whether countries are capable of providing the requested information. The ban, however, contains an important exception. Secretaries of State and Homeland Security may, on a case-by-case basis and when in the national interest, issue visas or other immigration benefits to nationals of country for which visas and benefits are otherwise blocked. In other words, the secretaries can make exceptions. A provision would, one hopes, fully allow interpreters and other proven allies to enter the U.S. during the 90-day period. To extend this ban applies to new immigration and non-immigration entry. This temporary halt, with exceptions, is wise. We know that terrorists are trying to infiltrate the ranks of refugees and other visitors. We know that immigrants from Somalia, for example, have launched jihadist attacks here at home and have sought to leave the U.S. to join ISIS. Oh, and it goes on and on. Bottom line, I'm just doing a real quick scan here, making sure I didn't forget something. Bottom line is, it's the same old BS. Trump's trying to do something helpful, and we have the Democrats and the liberals and the bleeding hearts that are trying to make it out to be worse than it is. This is something they've done with everything Trump has said and done. That is the kind of nonsense that has pushed people like me to favor Trump. I mean, you know, if the man's doing wrong, let's call him out on it. But dadgummit, quit making stuff up. Just like right here. Tears are flowing. It's a damn statue. And believe it or not, we have had different rules for people coming into this country for years. This is not an open border country. People don't get to just come and go as they wish. I have a very well-to-do friend from Germany that was wanting to come here and retire. And this was before Obama. And because of all the political nonsense, he couldn't even come here to retire. He wasn't wanting to come here and live off our benefits. He had enough money to buy a home. He was a millionaire. All right? Not a big one, but a little one, but still. He had several businesses over there that he had sold out. So now instead of coming here and retiring and spending his money in the U.S. like he wanted to do, He's in Germany. He bought him some kind of horse ranch thing where people come riding and doing that fancy horse riding nonsense. But now he can't come over. But yet they're going to fuss and carry on because Trump wants to make sure we're safe. Shame on him. These are just some of the nonsense stuff that Trump shouldn't do. He should not put America first, and he should not make sure that we are safe. He needs to put other countries first and just let all the damn terrorists in and just roll the dice. You know, if you're not vetting them and finding out where they're from, roll the dice. We have had attacks from jihadists here in the homeland. It's a crock of bull. But anyway, in case anybody wanted to know what was going on, the truth about what's going on with the executive order, no, he's not blocking 120 million people. You know, he has put a stop to it, a drastic slowdown to it. There are exceptions, because one of the talking heads I seen today is, oh, but we had people that helped us over there, and we promised them they could come in, and he's stopping them. No, he put a provision in there that would allow them in if they follow the proper protocol. You know, I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with him wanting to find out who these people are before he allows them in our country. That's how it should be. Period. And I read one where Canada was saying, you're welcome here. If you're rejected by Trump, you're welcome to Canada. And then Canada's going to give Trump a lesson and a lecture about how Canada has done so well with the refugees. Well, I used to run Canada until just about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And trust me, they have their own problems up there, and they've had their own attacks up there. They've just kept it under covers a lot better. So it ain't all peaches and cream. But anyway, there you go. Y'all have a good evening. Remember, God loves you and so do I. Good night.